All right, live and in effect. Welcome everybody. My name is David Lee, co-founder of Williams and Lee Financial, and I am super excited to kick off this first ever Williams and Lee Financial vlogcast. That's what I'm calling. It's both a vlog and a podcast, and this is the Financial Fix. That's the name of this pod, and I'm just like I said, guys. I'm super excited to do this. It's my first foray into this, and it's really to promote not only Williams and Lee Financial, but for me, really to share a lot of the things that I have and my passion for financial education. Guys, one of the things that I have come to really understand about myself is that I am big about personal finance. I guess it just goes back to really how I grew up. Not really your traditional story. I grew up in a single parent household, but my mom did everything she could to provide for me and my siblings, and I had a great life. Definitely didn't have everything that I needed, or everything that I wanted, I should say, but everything that I needed. But as I got older and I started to, I came out of college and I started to look at finances for myself, I realized that, hey, I was going to be having a lot of opportunities to make a lot of good money, and I did not just want to waste it. I didn't want to see it go away. I didn't want to look back at the end of my life and say, what did I do with all this money that I made? And so as I came out of college, I made a promise to myself that I would figure this out. And through just kind of much hard work and studying and asking of other people, grabbing mentors, not being afraid to ask for help, I started to kind of make a financial game plan for myself and just kind of figured it out, as most of us do, because as we all know, we didn't learn personal finance in school. Well, I didn't, and a lot of my friends didn't. So if it wasn't passed down to us from parents or loved ones, we just didn't get that. And so we're forced to kind of figure out how to adult on our own. And so as I started to kind of get more proficient with it, I started to want to help more and more people. I would talk to friends about it, family members about it, give them tips, and I would find different groups where we could trade information. And along my path, there's many different people that helped me, that put me on to games, so to speak, of different things that I could learn and master. And so as I kind of got older, I wanted to really start giving back. And I stumbled across an organization, Financial Education Services, which did exactly that. They have services and tools that enable people to get financially fit. And with that, the passion that I had for it, that my co-founders have for it, my brother and my sister-in-law, I mean, it just took off, right? It hit a spot for us in which that we could help, we could give back to the community, we could help other people achieve financial success where they wanted it to. And so I just got really excited and I decided to go all in on this. So not only that, but just giving my thoughts and like I said, my tips and tricks that I've learned about financial fitness and sharing that with everybody. So with this first kind of inaugural pod, as I like to call it, I'm going to talk about some of the fundamental things that I think everybody needs to start with. So number one, you have to have a budget. And I know people struggle with that word, right? They don't really want to create a budget, or maybe they don't know how to. But guys, a budget is so fundamentally important to the baseline of your financial health. Because once you create a budget, what this allows you to do is really understand the ins and outs of your financial well-being. You get to know you see on paper exactly how much money you have coming in and how much is going out. And guys, that's going to surprise you, I promise. It surprises even me. I sit down on a quarterly basis and look at my budget and say, okay, this is what I allocated to say of what I'm getting in. This is what I want to spend here. Here's my bills, my utilities, my mortgage, gas, entertainment. I sit down and look at all that, and there's silent killers that get us, guys. Fast food, eating out, going out, having fun. Guys, these are great things to do. By no means do you ever want to stop those things. Enjoy your life. But if you're not keeping track of it, it's very easy to spend, and it adds up so quickly, guys. And all of a sudden, you'll sit down and you'll look at your finances. You're like, yo, where did $500 go? Where did $1,000 go? I can't believe I spent $700 this month going to McDonald's or Subway or whatever it is that you go. And so guys, it's important to know so that way you can see it. And then once you see it, you can start to work the numbers and your finances start to work for you instead of you working for your finances. And it all starts there because now that you can see it, you can start making your categories. And guys, there's great tools out there. If you're a spreadsheet type of person, there's great templates. We have templates that we offer through Williams and Lee Financial, through financial education. But there's all kinds of templates out there that you can build and put into Excel and track and set your own categories. If you're an app person, right, you like stuff automated, Mint is a great tool for that. There's another one actually called You Need a Budget, another good software app out there that allows you can connect straight into your accounts and you can see everything and start creating the categories, right? I think some things that get people is I don't know where to start, right? I don't know where to start to create a budget. I don't really know what to do. Well, there's Mint is a great tool for that, right? Where it just kind of goes in, looks at the current categories that you spend and starts auto categorizing and you just pick it and watch it flow through. And guys, once you start doing that, I'm telling you, just that simple step will open up your eyes to understanding what's going on with your finances. And then from there, we can start taking some advanced steps, right? Now that you have a budget, you have your categories, now you start taking the disciplined steps to making sure that you stay within those categories, right? And so if you say like, hey, I'm only gonna spend $200 on entertainment this month, right? And just really start breaking that down. What does that mean? Well, a trip to the movies costs maybe $10 or $11 for a ticket. You're gonna get some popcorn, things like that. You're spending $20, $30 to go out. If it's two of you, for a date night to the movie. So if I'm going to spend $200 a month, that's 10 of just going to the movies, right? At $20 a pop, right? Which is probably now, if we think about it, right? If you catch matinees, you can get it for 20, right? But if you're going to the primetime shows, 20 for two people is not going to be enough. But the point is you can start to make your budget and say, okay, we can do this many times. And guys, I know that gets maybe a little tight, maybe a little scary. You start to feel a little constricted when you think of, well, man, what do you mean I can only go out so many times? But that's just where you start, right? You start to start setting up some goals so you can control and see. I would start there first and start building the discipline and say, hey, look, I'm going to stay within budget for 90 days, right? 3 months. I just want to stay within my categories and stay within my budget, right? The next step after that, as you start to kind of get that flow down, the next thing is finding out if you're a spender or a saver. Which one do you default to automatically? Because I think all of us default to one, right? We have a little bit of both, but we're going to default to one or the other. And you're either a spender, meaning you just like to go out and spend and you don't really think about saving, or the opposite, you're a saver and it's like, oh, you want to get it in and you would put it away. Guys, either one you are is fine, but you need to understand which one you are so that way you can take the proper steps to balance that out, right? If you're a spender, guys, raising my hand right now, love to spend. Love to spend. I love to go out and have a good time. I am a spender. So what I had to learn how to do was automate my savings. Make sure that I was constantly doing my savings by having it done before I even saw it, right? My direct deposit comes out, I have a little bit going over into my savings account, right? I've got automated apps. Acorns is a great app that takes change for transactions that I do. It'll round up to the next dollar, sends it over, puts it into an investment account for me, guys. Acorns is absolutely fantastic for this. I promise you will never miss that money. You'll never miss it. You'll look up 6-7 months later and be like, oh wow, I've got $900 sitting in an account. That's awesome, right? And so finding out if you're a spender or a saver. If you're a spender, automating your savings is so important. But I mean, you've got direct deposit, you've got automatic transfers, there's the Acorns app, there's tons of other apps out there for finding ways to automate your savings. And guys, it doesn't have to be a lot, right? Everybody talks about when you look at savings, you go, man, like I can't save this, because all of a sudden you try and save $500 a week or $1,000 a month. Guys, start small. $5 a week, $2 a week, whatever it is, start today and just start saving, right? Build that discipline. Right? Because when you start to build that discipline and you see that account starting to add up, right? And you start looking at it, you're like, man, all right, now I got this, now I got that. It starts to get a good positive vibe and you start to develop a good healthy habit for your financial well-being by starting that saving, right? If you're already a saver, awesome. You already like to save. You already don't want to have all of your money out. You like to stack away for a rainy day. That's awesome. learn how to harness that, right? If you're already saving and you're just putting it in a savings account, look at the interest rate that you're getting in that savings account. Now, guys, right now, interest rates aren't great, but there's some options, right? Maybe if you're with myself, I bank with Chase. Chase's savings rate are horrible. Ally right now has some good high yield, quote unquote, high yield savings account. It's only 1.45%, but hey, it's better than the 0.01 that you're going to get from a regular bank. But you can look around for some high yield interest savings account and put your money over there. We won't get into investments on this one, guys. I don't claim to be a financial advisor or want to advise anybody on investments. Definitely, I will always preach education first. If you're going to start looking at investments, definitely make sure you get educated. And we'll do a couple of casts on that, some things that I've learned and some excellent websites where you can go and get more information. But the one thing that I believe in that I think everybody needs is you want to have that education first. You want to understand the basics of your financials before you take that next step to anything more advanced, right? Even if you want to go to see a financial advisor, I would still recommend making sure you know the basics because, guys, with a financial advisor, this should be a conversation and a partnership. Right? You shouldn't just be going to somebody and handing over your money and saying, hey, look, you're a financial advisor, please manage all my money. Absolutely not. Not saying that they're not trustworthy, and I'm not saying that they're not worth it. They absolutely are, but you want that to be a partnership. This is your hard-earned money that you are giving over to somebody to help you manage. You want to understand those concepts and be going to them with ideas, right? And so that's kind of my passion and goal is that I want to empower as many people as I can to get that base financial understanding so they get to the place where they can go to financial advisors and go, hey, look, here's what I have so far. I've got my emergency fund set up. I've got $10,000 in savings that I'm available, and I want to start getting into some investments. I want to start looking at long term. Here's the type of return that I'm looking for. I want you guys having those type of conversations with financial advisors or investment advisors, so that way it truly is a partnership, and you understand what's going on with your money, because at the end of the day, it is your money, and you want to make sure that it's there for you for the long term. So, again, we have our budget. Now we're talking about spending versus saving. We figured out which one we are. And now we're starting to set up some good healthy habits of putting some money away, right? The next kind of things that we want to do, and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard this, is now you want to start setting up your emergency fund account, right? And your short-term and long-term emergency account, right? In the short term, you want to have access to $500 liquid somewhere in the account for things that just come up, guys. The refrigerator goes out. Perfect example, today actually I had to go get an oil change and I needed 2 new tires, right? Cost me like $372, right? You don't want those routine things in life to completely throw you off your plan, right? You want to get to the area to where that's just something that you can say, okay, great, I planned for this, I've saved for this, now I get the money and take care of that, right? And you just get there, guys, one step at a time, right? Again, automating your savings, getting yourself on a plan, but you can't get on that plan until you get your budget, right? You see how this all starts rolling together? You use that to start creating these plans so you can create those accounts, right? So you want your short term, you want access to 500. Ideally, you want to get that to 1,000. So you always want to have access to $1,000 for anything that comes up, right? After that, you want to start looking for a long-term emergency plan, right? And people usually say you want to have six months to a year's worth of salary. That's a big goal to get to, but that's where you want to get to, right? The way I look at it, guys, is that's the, excuse my French, oh shit happens fun, right? The 500 to 1,000, that's just everyday life, things happen, but this is like real talk, like real shit happens, right? There's a medical emergency, or, you know, all of a sudden you need to fly across the country to be with a loved one or something like that. Guys, life is going to come at you, and you want to be prepared to handle life and not be trying to fight against the flow of it, right? And that's why this is so important, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I want everybody to have that peace of mind, that understanding of their finances. I want everybody controlling their finances, right? I don't want you feeling like you're controlled by your financing. Guys, I've been there, coming out of college and working and starting my career, right? Having just this massive amounts of debt, not knowing what to do with it, and just feeling like I was constricted and my options were being taken away from me. Because I didn't have the right financial well-being, I wasn't afforded the same options as anybody else. And guys, that is just an absolute fact in this country, and that is sad, right? But it doesn't have to be. We have access to the education and tools that we need to get ourselves better, right? A good saying is, you know, when you know better, you do better. And so I want everybody to do better by knowing better. right? So, and that's what this podcast and these vlogs are going to be about, guys. I'm going to go into different topics. I might ramble a little bit just because I get passionate about it, guys. And I really, I love where I am in life right now, the ability to do this. And I absolutely love, working with people and getting them access to tools and services to help them, right? Guys, we're going to go on all kinds of topics. We're going to talk about credit, right? Credit is very important. And I know a lot of people that's like taboo, right? Nobody wants to talk about it. And I get it, guys. Personal finances, they're exactly that. They're personal, right? And sometimes we get embarrassed. We don't want to talk about this stuff. We don't want people to know like what's going on in our lives, or we don't quite understand something, or we've gotten ourselves in massive amounts of debt and don't know how to get out. Nobody wants to admit that. But guys, admitting it and talking about it is the first step to getting better with anything, right? And it's exactly this with personal finance, guys. So we're going to talk about credit. I'm going to have episodes where we get into the details of credit, making sure you understand how what your credit score is, what it's composed of, what you can do to restore it. We've got obviously services that we can help you with for that, but just general tips on how to get it restored. If maybe you're saying, look, Dave, right now the services, that's great. I know this is what you're pitching. I know you sell that, but that's not something I need. No problem. We're still going to get into it. We're going to talk about it on this podcast, also on our blog at williamsandlee.com/theledger. I'm going to make sure this content is out to you guys in all kinds of ways. The vlogcast, the audio podcast, the blogs, because guys, at the end of the day, if I don't make a dime, I want to make sure that you know how to manage your finances, that you send me an email or hit me up on Twitter or something and say, hey man, thanks for everything you do. And I was able to, get qualified for a loan. Right now I feel better about my finances. Guys, that's awesome. That's awesome. That right there is worth more to me than anything that I could possibly imagine, right? Because it is all about helping each other, giving each other the encouragement and the motivation, and the access to tools and education that we need. So awesome. I'm gonna get off that little rant and kind of get back to it, guys. So to wrap up, we've got, you want to start with your budget. From there, you want to find out if you're a spender or you're a saver. You want to start making plans to create your short-term and long-term emergency funds, right? That's kind of your immediate game plan. If you're starting and saying, I don't even know where to go, that's your immediate game plan. And guys, that's about, to be honest, depending on where you are, that's a 6 to 9 month track. And it could be a little bit longer, and that's okay, but that's a great place to start. And then after that, you can start getting into some more advanced things, right? Guys, there's so much going through my mind. There's so much that I am so excited to share with you guys, right? Credit card interest techniques, guys. Being able to maximize and use your credit. Say you have a decent credit score, but it's just not great. Learning how to maximize and use your credit score to improve it and to also save you something in interest long term, right? And that's another episode we'll get into, guys. Interest. You need to understand compound interest. I don't know about you guys, but I remember when I was going through elementary school, I had a teacher who used to tell us, man, compound interest is one of the most beautiful things in finance, right? And that's very true when it's working for you. When it's working against you, man, it is a monster to deal with, right? But understand compound interest, right? Understand what you're paying. And guys, there are ways to not pay all of the interest that you would over the course of a loan, right? And I'll do a detailed one and go into that, right? We'll break that down, and I'll actually probably do a presentation and post that online after I do this cast. So that way you guys can follow both as I'm talking about it, but also have a presentation that kind of lays it out for you and does a video and shows you how, just by paying debts down in a specific order, you can cut down long term on how much interest that you pay on those debts, right? And guys, and that's powerful. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, this was the inaugural one. Thank you so much. This is the Financial Fix. My name is David Lee, co-founder Williams & Lee, and we will see you guys next time. All right.